Our final gospel reading from Matthew, the 28th chapter. Now, the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. When they saw him, they worshiped him, but some doubted. And Jesus came and said to them, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And remember, I am with you always to the end of the age." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. You may be seated. So here we are, the last words from the Gospel of Matthew. We've been listening to this Gospel from the beginning of the year, working our way through it, and it's amazing to look back to the story that has come to this point. It began with a group of names. The very first things that we hear in the Gospel of Matthew is a lineage of Jesus, starting all the way back from Abraham and extending through. And it's interesting because some of the names in there are people who would not have automatically been a part of God's family at the time. They were people outside of the Jewish scope. We remember Ruth, the Moabite, in that group of people, somebody who wouldn't automatically have been a part of God's family. And even perhaps more interestingly, that Jesus is said to be a part of the lineage of David, but has no connection with that family. He's born from Mary, and so Mary has no connection to the line of David. And so in who Jesus is already, this family is an adopted family. The only reason Jesus is a part of the line of David is because Joseph adopts him into that family. So when it says go and make disciples, this is a whole new thing that God is doing, because until then, to be a disciple, to be a part of the family of God, you had to be born from the right people in the right place in the right time. But now, a disciple, a part of the family of God, can be made, can be baptized. A part of the God's family can be adopted, just like Jesus, just like you and me. We've all been adopted into this family, not born into this family, God, but now all of a sudden the whole world is being told you too can be a part of this family. And then it has two things to say about that. Now, if you're going to be a part of the family, you got to behave a certain way. And I'm sure you've heard that before, not just in the church family, but in your family at home. If you're a Malpica, this is what you do. If you're a Huseth, this is what you do. If you're a Hendricks, this is what you do. There's something about being a part of a family that matters, that you demonstrate to the world who your family is. So I knew from very young that I was a Malpica, and that being a Malpica meant that we went to church. It meant that we sang loud in church when we went there, and it meant that we danced after church. That's what we did. And Jessica can tell you, when we go home, everybody knows the Malpica family's in town. We're going to sing, and we're going to dance, and we're going to eat. That's the other thing you're going to do. We're going to eat. And when we eat, there's another thing you know about our family, is that we're going to share our food. So whenever we go out to eat, you can't just order off the menu. You have to make sure that you're ordering something different from the person next to you so you can try as many things as you can, because you're going to share. And it wasn't a choice whether or not I got to taste my mom's food. She's like, "No, this is really good." You're trying, like, "Mom, I don't want to." "No, you're going to." "No, I don't want to." Okay, I guess I'm trying it now. That's who we were as family. And the last thing was that there was always room at our table for someone else. One of the things about my family growing up is that there was always extra food at our table, and our friends knew that. My brother's friends knew that. He had one friend in particular who had a really tough life at home, and he always knew there was going to be food at our house for him. So often he found himself at our dinner table, eating with us, sharing with us. That was a safe place for him to be. I had friends from the cul-de-sac. We grew up in a little cul-de-sac, and all the kids knew that they could come over to our house for dinner. So when they called out for dinner, like, Felix, what are you guys having tonight? Because they knew they'd be welcome to come, and having some of that good Puerto Rican rice and beans and meat was something that they couldn't get anywhere else. And so this is what God is offering to the whole world now. Now, God is saying to the whole world, you can be a part of my family. And you don't have to be born in the right place, of the right group of people. The whole world can be born into my family through this. Here is where we are reborn into God's family. And if you take this promise of water and word, if you take this promise of baptism, then now you better live like God's family. And to live like God's family is that great commandment that Jesus taught, to love God with your whole heart, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. That with your entire being, you have to demonstrate love for God and love for your neighbor. And a neighbor that may look like you, a neighbor that might not. A neighbor that you might like, and a neighbor that you might not. That we as a people demonstrate who we are as a part of this family by the love that we share. By the love that we share for those who are the most broken in society. Just as Jesus went seeking those who were sick, those who were outcast, those who were on the outside of society, and brought them into the family. In the same way that Jesus Christ makes room for every single person around this table. That's why it's so important for me every single Sunday to say, I'm not the host, Jesus is. And at this table, there's room for everybody. For every single person who wants to come and be fed, come. The table is wide open because this is a family that's big enough, bold enough for the whole world, big enough for everyone to say, I can be a part of that family. I want to be a part of that family. Now, part of my heartache is that some people have given our family a pretty bad name. Some people have given the Christian family a bad name. There's people out there in the world who feel hurt, who feel betrayed, who feel cast aside, who feel overlooked by the church. And that gives my family a bad name. And I want to work to make as many people give my family a good name as possible. And you people help me do that. You really do. You help me give this Christian family a good name. You continue to spread the love of God to people that you know and to people that you don't know. For people who come and visit the church, they feel the warmness of this family. As soon as they come up the stairs, they smell coffee, they smell cookies, they see people talking to each other, and they're invited into those conversations. That's you demonstrating who this family is in the world. And I want you to keep on taking that mission outside of this room. Continue on taking this story of God's love into every corner of your life, to the people that you meet in the grocery store, to the people that you work with, to the people you go to school with. Say, you know what? I'm a part of a family that really is a family of love. And although, yeah, we've got a crazy uncle out there who's saying some things we don't appreciate, we love him, and he can be a part of our family, but we act a different way. We say yes to the outsider. We say yes to those people who are struggling with their sexuality. We say, we love you. We say yes to families that are struggling with one another. We say, we love you. We say yes to even people who have been to prison. You know what? We love you, and you're welcome in our family. We say yes to the outsider who may not even speak our language. We love you. In this family, there's room at the table for everyone. In this family, we share God's love so freely that we can then begin to give people a glimpse of that final promise that Jesus gives. Remember, I will be with you to the end of the age. Remember, I will be with you to the end of the age. Part of our work in the world is making people feel that promise in their lives. This promise that God will be with you, and God will be with you through angels, possibly us, your hands, doing God's work in the world. So go from here, make disciples, let everyone know there's room in this family for you, and then show them what kind of family this is. That this is a family that shows love for everyone in a big and bold way, opening ourselves up for the sake of the other and using our whole being to demonstrate that love for the world. Amen.